The weird job offer. Sarah Chen yawned as she sat at her desk. It was another boring day at her office job. She typed on her computer, checked her phone, and wished something exciting would happen. Suddenly, her phone rang. Sarah looked at it. The number was strange. She didn't know it. She picked up the phone. "Hello," she said. A deep voice answered. "Sarah Chen." "Yes, that's me," Sarah said. She felt curious. Who was this? The voice said, "Please go to the front of your building. A car is waiting for you." Sarah blinked. What? Who is this? But the person had already hung up. Sarah looked around her office. Should she go? It seemed crazy, but it was more interesting than her boring job. She stood up, grabbed her bag, and walked to the elevator. Outside, a big black car waited. A man in a black suit stood next to it. He looked serious. "Miss Chen?" he asked. Sarah nodded. The man opened the car door. "Please get in." Sarah hesitated. This was strange, but her curiosity won. She got into the car. Inside, another man in a black suit sat. He smiled at Sarah. "Thank you for coming, Miss Chen. We have an important job for you." Sarah's eyes went wide. A job? What kind of job? The man said, "We'll explain everything soon. For now, enjoy the ride." The car drove for an hour. Sarah watched as they left the city. Soon, they were in the countryside. Trees and fields passed by the windows. Finally, the car stopped in front of a hill. Sarah got out and looked around. There was nothing here. The men led her to the hill. One of them touched a hidden button. Suddenly, a door opened in the hill. Sarah gasped. A secret door. The men walked in. Sarah followed, her heart beating fast. Inside was a long hallway. Lights turned on as they walked. Sarah felt like she was in a movie. They went down, down, down. At last, they came to a big room. It looked like a control center from a sci-fi film. Screens covered the walls. People in uniforms worked at desks. An older woman walked up to Sarah. She had gray hair and kind eyes. "Welcome, Sarah Chen. I'm General Maria Lopez. We've been waiting for you." Sarah's mouth fell open. A general. What was going on? General Lopez smiled. "You must have many questions. Let's sit down and talk." They sat at a table. Sarah's head was spinning. The general looked serious. "Miss Chen, what I'm about to tell you is top secret. You can't tell anyone," the general said. Sarah nodded. She felt excited and scared at the same time. General Lopez took a deep breath. "Aliens are real. We've known for years, and now we need to send someone to meet them." Sarah's eyes went huge. "Aliens? Real aliens?" The general nodded. "Yes, and we want you to be Earth's ambassador to them." Sarah couldn't believe her ears. "Me? But I'm nobody special. I'm just an office worker." General Lopez smiled. "That's exactly why we chose you. The aliens don't want a politician or a famous person. They want a normal human, someone real." Sarah's mind raced. This morning, she was bored at her desk. Now she might become Earth's first alien ambassador. "But I don't know anything about being an ambassador," Sarah said. "Don't worry," the general replied. "We'll teach you everything you need to know. You'll learn about space travel, alien cultures, and diplomacy." Sarah thought hard. This was crazy, dangerous, exciting. Everything she ever wanted. "What if I say no?" she asked. General Lopez looked serious. "Then you go home, back to your old life. You'll forget this ever happened." Sarah imagined going back to her boring job, typing all day, wishing for adventure. She took a deep breath. "I'll do it," she said. The general's face lit up. "Excellent. Welcome aboard, Ambassador Chen." Suddenly, alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed. Everyone in the room started running around. "What's happening?" Sarah yelled over the noise. General Lopez looked worried. The aliens have arrived early. They're entering Earth's orbit now. Sarah's jaw dropped. This was all happening so fast. The general grabbed Sarah's arm. Looks like your training will have to wait. We need you now. Ambassador Chen, Earth is counting on you. As Sarah followed the general, her head spun. This morning, she was a nobody. Now she was about to meet real aliens. She took a deep breath. Whatever happened next, Sarah knew one thing for sure. Her life would never be boring again. Space road trip. Sarah Chen stood in a big room full of strange machines. She looked at the shiny spacesuit in front of her. It was her size, but it looked alien to her. Put it on, General Lopes said with a smile. Sarah nodded. She started to put on the suit. It was harder than she thought. She got her foot stuck and almost fell over. Oops, she said, catching herself. A young man ran over to help her. Hi, I'm Tom, he said. I'll show you how to wear this. With Tom's help, Sarah finally got the suit on. It felt heavy and weird. Now, try walking, General Lopes said. Sarah took a step, then another. It was like walking underwater. She moved slowly, trying not to fall. Suddenly, she tripped over her own feet. Whoa, she yelled as she fell forward. But she didn't hit the ground. Instead, she floated up. The suit had anti-gravity. Sarah laughed as she floated around the room. This is amazing, she said. General Lopes smiled. You'll get used to it. Now let me introduce you to someone special. She pressed a button on a computer. A small robot rolled into the room. This is Beeper, your robot assistant, the general said. Beeper looked like a trash can with arms. It beeped and rolled up to Sarah. Hello, Ambassador Chen, Beeper said in a funny robot voice. I am here to assist you. Sarah grinned. Nice to meet you, Beeper. Beeper's eyes lit up. Would you like to hear a joke? Sure, Sarah said. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Beeper asked. Because they make up everything. Sarah laughed. Maybe this robot wasn't so bad. Okay, time to board your ship, General Lopes said. They walked and rolled, in Beeper's case, to a big door. It opened to show a huge room with a spaceship inside. Sarah's mouth fell open. The ship was beautiful. It was shaped like a teardrop and shined like a diamond. This is the Stardust Express, Tom said. The fastest ship we have. Sarah, still in her spacesuit, climbed aboard with Beeper. The inside was cozy, with comfy seats and lots of blinking lights. Good luck, Ambassador, General Lopes said. Earth is counting on you. The door closed. Sarah sat in the pilot's seat, feeling nervous and excited. Don't worry, Beeper said. I will handle the flying. The ship rumbled. Sarah felt a push as they took off. She looked out the window and gasped. The Earth was getting smaller. We're really in space, she said. Beeper beeped happily. Yes, we are. Our trip will take 3 days. Sarah spent the first day learning about the ship. Beeper taught her about all the buttons and screens. On the second day, Sarah practiced her alien greeting. She stood in front of a mirror, trying to look serious. Greetings, nobles organs, she said. Then she burst out laughing. It sounded so silly. Beeper watched her. Perhaps a simpler greeting would be better, it said. Suddenly, the ship shook. Alarms started beeping. What's happening? Sarah yelled. Beeper rolled to a computer. We have entered a field of space junk. Sarah looked out the window. Pieces of metal and rock were hitting the ship. What do we do? She asked, scared. I will try to fly us out, Beeper said. Hold on tight. The ship twisted and turned. Sarah felt like she was on a roller coaster. She held onto her seat, her heart racing. A big piece of metal came straight at them. Sarah screamed. At the last second, Beeper fired the ship's lasers. The metal exploded into dust. After what felt like hours, they were out of danger. Sarah let out a big breath. That was close, she said. Beeper's eyes blinked. Yes, it was. But it seems you have mastered floating in zero gravity. Sarah looked down. She was floating above her seat. She hadn't even noticed. She laughed. I guess I have. The rest of the trip was calmer. Sarah read about the Zorgans, the aliens she was going to meet. They looked like big blue octopuses. On the third day, Beeper announced, "We are approaching the meeting point." Sarah felt butterflies in her stomach. This was it. She was about to be the first human to officially meet aliens. She put on her spacesuit again. This time, she didn't trip. "Are you ready, Ambassador Chen?" Beeper asked. Sarah took a deep breath. "As ready as I'll ever be." The ship slowed down. Sarah looked out the window, expecting to see the Zorgan ship, but there was nothing there. "That's weird," she said. "Where are they?" Beeper checked the computers. "They should be here. I will try to call them." Suddenly, the ship's alarms went off again. The computer screens flashed red. "What's wrong now?" Sarah asked, her heart beating fast. Beeper's eyes got big. "Oh my. It seems we have company." Sarah looked out the window again. Her jaw dropped. Thousands of alien ships had just appeared out of nowhere. They filled the space around them. It wasn't just one Zorgan ship. It was the entire Zorgan fleet. Alien party crashers. Sarah Chen's mouth hung open as she stared out the window of the Stardust Express. Thousands of alien ships surrounded them, twinkling like stars. Her heart raced. This was not part of the plan. "Beeper," she said, trying to keep her voice calm. "I thought we were just meeting one ship." The robot's eyes blinked rapidly. "That was the plan, Ambassador Chen. It seems the Zorgans had other ideas." Sarah took a deep breath. She remembered her training. "Okay, let's try to talk to them." Beeper rolled to the communication panel. "I will open a channel." Sarah cleared her throat and spoke into the microphone. "Greetings, noble Zorgans. This is Ambassador Sarah Chen from Earth. We come in peace." They waited. Seconds ticked by. Then minutes. No answer. Sarah frowned. Why aren't they responding? Beeper made a sound like a sigh. Perhaps they are discussing how to respond. Or perhaps. Suddenly, all the screens on the ship lit up. A face appeared. If you could call it a face. It was blue and had tentacles where a mouth should be. Big, curious eyes blinked at them. Sarah gasped. A real alien. The alien spoke. Its voice sounded like bubbles popping. "Greetings, Earth creature. We are the Zorgans. We come in peace." Sarah blinked. Did you mean peace?" The alien's tentacles wiggled. "No, we come in peace. Many pieces, many ships. See." It gestured at the fleet around them. Sarah couldn't help it. She started to laugh. All her nervousness disappeared. "I see," she said, smiling. "Well, we're happy to meet you, whether you come in one piece or many pieces." The alien's eyes crinkled in what Sarah hoped was a smile. "We are happy too. We bring whole fleet for big party." Now it was Beeper's turn to be confused. "Party? Our information said this was a diplomatic meeting." The alien waved its tentacles excitedly. "Yes, yes. Diplomatic party. Best way to make friends is to dance." Sarah looked at Beeper, then back at the alien. "Dance? You want to dance with us?" "Of course." The alien said, "Dancing is universal language. You dance, we become friends." Sarah didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She had prepared speeches, studied alien customs, and practiced formal greetings. But nobody had told her she'd need to dance. Okay," she said. "But how?" "We're in space, in different ships." The alien's eyes twinkled. "No problem. We have special space dance floor. You come to our big ship. We dance, we party, we make history." Before Sarah could respond, the alien clapped its tentacles. Suddenly, a bright light surrounded the Stardust Express. "What's happening?" Sarah yelped. Beeper's lights flashed in alarm. We are being tractor-beamed to the main Zorgon ship. Sarah felt her stomach drop as their ship moved through space. She watched as they got closer and closer to a massive ship in the center of the fleet. It was huge, like a floating city. With a gentle bump, the Stardust Express landed inside a giant hangar. The doors opened, and Sarah saw hundreds of Zorgons waiting. They were all different shades of blue and green, their tentacles waving in excitement. "Welcome, Earth friends," the alien from the screen called out. It slithered towards them on what looked like a moving carpet of smaller tentacles. "I am Zlob, party master of the Zorgons. Are you ready to boogie?" Sarah stepped out of her ship, Beeper rolling beside her. She felt dizzy. This was crazy. She was about to dance with aliens. Suddenly, music started playing. It was like nothing Sarah had ever heard before. It sounded like whales singing mixed with jazz and a touch of heavy metal. The Zorgons started moving, their tentacles waving in rhythm. Some spun in circles, others bounced up and down. It was the strangest dance party Sarah had ever seen. Zlob looked at her expectantly. "Now you dance, Earth Ambassador. Show us your moves." Sarah froze. What should she do? She wasn't a great dancer on Earth, let alone in space. She looked at Beeper for help. The robot tilted its head. "According to my database, the most universally recognized Earth dance is the robot." Sarah almost laughed. Of course, she started moving her arms stiffly, like a robot. She took choppy steps, turning in a circle. The Zorgons watched in fascination. Then, to Sarah's surprise, they started copying her. Soon, the whole hangar was full of blue aliens doing the robot. Zlob's eyes were wide with joy. "Amazing. Earth dance is so cool. What is it called?" "The robot," Sarah said, still dancing. Zlob's tentacles wiggled faster. "Robot. Robot. We love robot." Soon, all the aliens were chanting, "Robot. Robot," as they danced. Even Beeper got into it, spinning in circles and waving its metal arms. As Sarah danced with her new alien friends, she couldn't believe how this had turned out. She had been so worried about saying the right things, about being a proper ambassador. But here she was, doing the robot with a bunch of blue octopus-like aliens. And it was working. Hours passed, but no one seemed to get tired. The Zorgons taught Sarah some of their dances, which mostly involved wiggling in ways she didn't think were possible for humans. In return, she showed them the Macarena, which they loved. Finally, as Sarah was catching her breath, Zlob slithered up to her. "Earth Ambassador, this has been the best diplomatic meeting ever. We officially declare humans to be our new best friends in the galaxy." Sarah's eyes widened. "Really? Just like that?" Zlob nodded, its tentacles forming what looked like a thumbs up. "Of course, anyone who dances the robot must be good. We look forward to many more parties with Earth." As Sarah watched the aliens continue to dance, a big smile spread across her face. Who would have thought? She had come prepared for serious talks and formal negotiations. Instead, she had saved the day with the robot and the Macarena. She looked at Beeper, who was still spinning happily. "I guess sometimes the best diplomacy happens on the dance floor," she said. Beeper beaked in agreement. "Indeed, Ambassador Chen, it seems the universe moves to its own rhythm. We just have to learn to dance to it." Sarah laughed and jumped back into the alien conga line forming around her. As she danced with her new blue friends, she knew one thing for sure. This was going to be one heck of a story to tell back on Earth. Oh no, my poor heart. Sarah Chen woke up with a start. She looked around, confused. Where was she? Then she remembered. She was on the giant Zorgon spaceship. After the big dance party, the aliens had given her a room to rest. She sat up and stretched. Her muscles were sore from all the dancing. Who knew the robot could be such a workout? Beeper, her robot assistant, rolled into the room. "Good morning, Ambassador Chen. Did you sleep well? Sarah yawned. I did, thanks. What's on the agenda for today? Beeper's eyes lit up. The Zorgans have invited us to tour their ship. Then we have a meeting with their leaders. Sarah nodded. She felt excited, but also a little nervous. Dancing was one thing, but now she had to do some real diplomacy. She got ready and followed Beeper out of the room. As soon as the door opened, she gasped. The hallway was huge. It was like being inside a giant blue and green coral reef, but in space. Zlob, the Zorgan party master, was waiting for them. Good morning, Earth friends. Ready for big tour? Sarah smiled. We sure are, Zlob. Lead the way. As they walked, and in Zlob's case, slithered, through the ship, Sarah's eyes got bigger and bigger. Everything was amazing. They had rooms where they grew their own food, playgrounds where baby Zorgans learned to use their tentacles, and even a zero-gravity sports arena. This is incredible, Sarah said. Your ship is like a whole world. Zlob wiggled happily. Yes, is home for many Zorgans. We travel space, meet new friends, have good time. They turned a corner and entered a new room. Sarah's jaw dropped. This room was enormous, bigger than any stadium she'd ever seen, and it was full of machines. What is this place? She asked. Zlob's tentacles waved excitedly. This is Heart of Ship, our big engines. Sarah looked closer at the machines. They were huge, pulsing with strange blue energy. They hummed and throbbed, making the whole room vibrate. Suddenly, one of the machines made a loud boom. Sarah jumped, her heart racing. Is it supposed to do that? She asked nervously. Zlob nodded. Oh yes, means engines working good. Watch this. He slithered to a control panel and pressed some buttons. Suddenly, all the machines lit up at once, the room filled with blinding light and a deafening roar. Sarah's heart started beating even faster. The noise was so loud, she could feel it in her chest. The vibration shook her whole body. Wow, she shouted over the noise. This is intense. But Zlob wasn't done. Now for best part, he yelled. He pressed another button. Suddenly, the floor became transparent. Sarah looked down and screamed. She could see space below them, and it was moving. The giant ship was zooming through space at an incredible speed. Stars streaked by like lines of light. Planets appeared and disappeared in seconds. Sarah's head spun. Her heart was pounding so hard, she thought it might burst out of her chest. She felt dizzy and short of breath. Oh no, she thought. Am I having a heart attack? She tried to call out to Beeper, but no words came out. Her vision started to get blurry. The roar of the engines seemed far away now. Just as she thought she might faint, she felt something cool touch her arm. It was Beeper, holding out a small device. Ambassador Chen, the robot said, its voice cutting through the noise. Your vital signs are elevated. Please use this space inhaler. With shaking hands, Sarah took the inhaler and used it. Almost immediately, she felt better. Her breathing slowed down, and the dizziness started to fade. Zlob, noticing something was wrong, quickly shut off the engines. The room went quiet, and the floor became solid again. Earth friend okay? Zlob asked, his eyes wide with concern. Sarah nodded weakly. I'm feeling better now. That was just a lot to take in. Zlob's tentacles drooped. Oh no, we so sorry. Didn't mean to scare Earth friend. Sometimes we forget humans not used to space travel like us. Sarah managed a small smile. It's okay, Zlob. It was amazing. Just a bit overwhelming. Beeper rolled closer to Sarah. Perhaps we should return to your room so you can rest, Ambassador. But Sarah shook her head. No, I'm okay now. We still have the meeting with the Zorgan leaders, right? Zlob perked up. Yes, but only if Earth friend feels good. Health more important than meeting. Sarah took a deep breath. She still felt a little shaky, but she was determined to do her job. "I'm ready. Let's go meet your leaders." As they left the engine room, Sarah's mind was racing. She had just seen incredible things, traveled faster than she ever thought possible, and nearly had a heart attack. All before lunch. Being a space ambassador is not for the faint of heart, she thought, then chuckled at her own pun. They walked through more coral-like hallways until they reached a grand door. Zlob turned to Sarah, his tentacles forming a serious shape. "Behind this door are Zorgan leaders," he said. "They very excited to meet Earth friend who dances robot." Sarah straightened her clothes and tried to calm her still fluttering heart. This was it, the real test of her ambassador skills. "Ready, Ambassador Chen?" Beeper asked. Sarah nodded. "Ready as I'll ever be. Let's do this." As the doors began to open, Sarah took one last deep breath. Her heart was still racing, but now it was with excitement. Who knew what alien wonders, or dance moves, awaited her on the other side? Robot to the rescue. The big doors opened slowly. Sarah Chen took a deep breath and stepped into the Zorgan leader's room. Her heart was still beating fast from her adventure in the engine room. The room was huge and round. In the center was a table shaped like a star. Around it sat 5 Zorgans. They were bigger than Zlob, and their skin changed colors like a mood ring. "Welcome, Earth Ambassador," the biggest Zorgan said. Its voice sounded like a cello playing underwater. Sarah smiled and waved. "Hello, noble Zorgan leaders. I'm Sarah Chen from Earth. It's an honor to meet you." She walked towards the table, trying to look confident, but her legs felt wobbly. Was it from all the dancing earlier, or from nearly fainting in the engine room? Suddenly, Sarah's vision got blurry. The room started to spin. "Oh no, not again," she thought. She tried to grab the table, but her hand missed. She felt herself falling. The Zorgan leaders gasped, their skin turning a worried purple color. But before Sarah hit the ground, something caught her. It was Beeper. The little robot had zoomed forward and caught Sarah just in time. "Ambassador Chen, are you all right?" Beeper asked, its mechanical voice full of concern. Sarah blinked, trying to focus. I don't feel so good," she mumbled. The room erupted in chaos. The Zorgan leaders were waving their tentacles and making bubbly sounds of distress. Zlob was bouncing up and down, unsure what to do. Beeper's lights flashed as it scanned Sarah. "Ambassador Chen's vital signs are unstable. She needs immediate medical attention." One of the Zorgan leaders slithered forward. "Quick, take her to our medical bay." Beeper lifted Sarah easily. It was stronger than it looked. As they rushed out of the room, Sarah heard the Zorgan leader shout, "Don't worry, Earth friend. Our doctors will fix you up faster than you can say robot." The trip to the medical bay was a blur for Sarah. She saw flashes of the coral-like hallways and heard the worried beeps of Beeper. Then everything went black. When Sarah opened her eyes again, she was lying on a soft, squishy bed. It felt like a waterbed, but warm and cozy. She looked around. The room was full of strange, glowing machines. "Welcome back, Ambassador Chen," said Beeper, rolling up to her bed. Sarah sat up slowly. "What happened?" "You fainted during the meeting with the Zorgan leaders," Beeper explained. "It seems the excitement of the day, combined with the effects of space travel, overwhelmed your system." Sarah groaned. "Oh no, I messed up the whole meeting." "On the contrary," said a bubbly voice. A Zorgan doctor slid into the room. Its skin was a calm blue color. "You've given us a wonderful opportunity." Sarah blinked in confusion. "I have." The doctor nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, we've never treated a human before. It's so exciting. We're learning so much about your biology. Did you know your heart has only one chamber?" "Fascinating." Sarah couldn't help but laugh. Trust the aliens to find her fainting spell exciting. "How long was I out?" she asked. "Only for 27 minutes and 42 seconds, Beeper replied promptly. The Zorgan doctor waved a tentacle dismissively. A mere blink in cosmic time. And your little robot friend here was most helpful. It provided us with all your medical data. Sarah smiled at Beeper. Thank you, Beeper. You really saved the day. Beeper's lights blinked happily. I am programmed to assist and protect, Ambassador Chen. I'm glad I could help. Just then, Zlob burst into the room, followed by all 5 Zorgan leaders. Their skin was cycling through a rainbow of worried colors. Earth friend okay? Zlob asked anxiously. Sarah nodded. I'm feeling much better now, thanks to your excellent doctors and my trusty robot. The Zorgan leaders sighed in relief, their skin settling into a happy pink color. We are so glad, said the leader who had spoken in the meeting room. We were very worried. Thought maybe our ship made Earth friend sick. Sarah shook her head. No, it wasn't your fault. I guess I'm just not used to all this space excitement. The Zorgan leader nodded understanding. Space travel can be tough on body. That's why we always dance to stay healthy. Sarah laughed. Maybe I need to do more of the robot to get in shape for space. All the Zorgans brightened at the mention of the dance. Yes, robot dance best exercise, Zlob exclaimed. Suddenly, Sarah had an idea. She turned to Beeper. Hey Beeper, you're the expert on the robot dance. Why don't you show the Zorgans some new moves? Beeper's head spun around. Me? Dance? But Ambassador Chen, I'm not programmed for. Nonsense, Sarah interrupted with a grin. You're a robot. The robot dance is in your circuits. The Zorgans all cheered. Yes. Robot teach us more robot. Beeper looked as embarrassed as a robot could look. But it rolled to the center of the room and began to move. Its arms went up and down stiffly, and it spun in a circle. The Zorgans watched in awe. Then they started to copy Beeper's moves. Soon, the whole medical bay was full of aliens doing the robot. Even the doctors joined in. Sarah sat on her squishy bed, laughing so hard her sides hurt. Here she was, in an alien medical bay, watching a real robot teach alien octopuses how to do the robot. It was the craziest thing she'd ever seen. As she watched Beeper lead the alien dance party, Sarah felt a wave of affection for her robot friend. Beeper had caught her when she fell, gotten her to the doctor, and now was keeping the aliens happy and entertained. Who knew a little trash can with arms could be such a great diplomat? One of the Zorgan leaders slid up to Sarah's bed, still doing the robot with its tentacles. Earth friend feeling better now. Sarah nodded, still grinning. Much better, thank you. I'm sorry for interrupting our meeting. The leader waved a tentacle dismissively. No sorry needed. This much more fun than boring meeting. We learn Earth dance and Earth biology. Very educational. Sarah laughed. Well, I'm glad something good came out of my fainting spell. The Zorgan leader's skin turned a warm golden color. We think you and Robot Friend are excellent ambassadors. You show us that Earth people know how to have fun and how to care for each other. We are very happy to be friends with Earth. Sarah felt a warm glow of pride. Despite everything that had gone wrong, it seemed like her mission was a success after all. And it was all thanks to dancing, fainting, and one very special robot. As Beeper continued to lead the alien robot dance, Sarah made a mental note. When she got back to Earth, she was going to recommend that all future space ambassadors be trained in dance and be given a robot assistant. After all, you never knew when you might need to disco your way through diplomacy. Lost in translation, Sarah Chen felt much better after resting in the Zorgan medical bay. She was ready to get back to her job as Earth's ambassador. Beeper rolled beside her as they walked to the meeting room. Are you sure you're okay, Ambassador Chen? Beeper asked. Sarah nodded. I'm fine, Beeper. Thanks for asking. And thanks again for saving me earlier. Beeper's lights blinked happily. It was my pleasure. I'm glad my dancing skills were useful too. Sarah laughed. Who knew the robot dance would be such a hit with actual aliens? They entered the meeting room. The Zorgan leaders were waiting, their skin a calm blue color. Zlob was there too, bouncing excitedly. Earth friend feeling better? Zlob asked. Much better, thank you, Sarah said with a smile. Now let's get down to business. The biggest Zorgan nodded. Yes, let's talk about Earth-Zorgan friendship. Sarah sat down at the star-shaped table. She took out a tablet that Earth had given her. It had all the important points she needed to discuss. Okay, she said, first, let's talk about trade. Earth would like to. Suddenly, all the lights in the room turned red. A loud alarm started blaring. What's happening? Sarah yelled over the noise. The Zorgan leader's skin turned a worried purple. They started waving their tentacles and making bubbly noises. Zlob slithered over to Sarah. Is emergency. Big problem with ship engine. Sarah's eyes widened. Oh no. Can we help? The big Zorgan leader shook its head. No. We fix. You stay here. Be safe. With that, all the Zorgans rushed out of the room, leaving Sarah and Beeper alone. Sarah looked at Beeper. Well, I guess we wait. Hours passed. Sarah tried to stay calm, but she was getting worried. What if something really bad had happened? Finally, the door opened. Zlob came in, looking tired. Is everything okay? Sarah asked. Zlob nodded. Yes, all fixed now. But very hard work. We all very tired. Sarah understood. Of course, we can continue our meeting another time. But Zlob shook its head. No. Leaders say we finish now. They come soon. Sure enough, the Zorgan leaders came in a few minutes later. They looked exhausted, their skin a dull, excited. Big news, the new Zorgan shouted. The Blorbans are here. The other Zorgans gasped. Their skin turned a worried green color. Sarah looked confused. Who are the Blorbans? She asked. The big Zorgan leader turned to her. Blorbans are, how you say, our rivals. We compete for best dancer title in Galaxy. Sarah's eyes widened. There's a galactic dance competition. Zlob nodded. Yes, very important. Winner gets to host big space party. We lost to Blorbans last time. Just then, another group of aliens entered the room. They looked like giant jellyfish, but with sparkly tentacles. They floated in the air, moving gracefully. The lead Blorban spoke. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. Hello Zorgans, ready to lose dance contest again. The Zorgan's skin turned an angry red. Zlob waved its tentacles. No way. This time, we win. Sarah watched as the two groups started arguing. It was getting heated. She had to do something. Wait, she shouted. Everyone stopped and looked at her. I have an idea, Sarah said. Why don't we have the dance contest right now? And I can be the judge. The Zorgans and Blorbans looked at each other. Then they nodded. Okay, said the Blorban leader. But who are you? Sarah stood up straight. I'm Sarah Chen, ambassador from Earth. I'm new here, so I can be a fair judge. The Blorbans seemed to like this idea. Very well, said their leader. Let the dance-off begin. Suddenly, the meeting room transformed. Lights started flashing, and music began to play. It was unlike any music Sarah had ever heard. It sounded like space whales singing mixed with funky jazz. The Zorgans went first. They all bunched together, then suddenly burst apart, their tentacles waving in perfect sync. They spun and twirled, changing colors in time with the music. It was amazing. Then it was the Blorbans' turn. They floated up high, then dove down, their sparkly tentacles leaving trails of light in the air. They moved like water, flowing and swirling in beautiful patterns. Both groups were incredible. Sarah didn't know how she would choose a winner. Then she had another idea. Wait, she said again. I think I know a fair way to decide this. Everyone looked at her curiously. Sarah smiled. On Earth, we have a dance called the robot. I think whoever does the best robot dance should win. The aliens looked confused. Slob raised a tentacle. But Earth friend, we don't know this robot dance. Sarah grinned. Don't worry. I have the perfect teacher right here. She turned to Beeper. Beeper, show them how it's done. Beeper's lights blinked in surprise. Me? But Ambassador Chen, I'm not programmed for. Nonsense, Sarah said. You're a robot. This is your dance. Just do what comes naturally. Beeper hesitated, then rolled to the center of the room. It started to move its arms up and down stiffly. It turned in a jerky circle, its head spinning around. The aliens watched in amazement. Then, slowly, they started to copy Beeper's moves. It was the funniest thing Sarah had ever seen. The Zorgans were waving their tentacles stiffly, trying to look like robots. The Blorbans were bobbing up and down, their jellyfish bodies shaking with the effort to move in straight lines. Sarah couldn't help it. She burst out laughing. But to her surprise, the aliens didn't get upset. Instead, they started laughing too. Soon, everyone was doing their own silly version of the robot. The Zorgans were beeping and booping. The Blorbans were making whirring noises. Even the Zorgan leaders joined in, their big bodies wiggling in a very un-robot-like way. As Sarah watched the weird and wonderful dance party, she had a brilliant idea. Hey, everyone, she called out. Why don't you all work together to create a new dance? You could combine the robot with your own awesome moves. The aliens stopped dancing and looked at each other. For a moment, Sarah was worried she had said the wrong thing. But then the Blorban leader floated over to Slob. What do you think? It asked. Should we try? Slob's skin turned a thoughtful purple. Then it nodded. Yes, we make best dance in galaxy together. And just like that, the rivalry was forgotten. The Zorgans and Blorbans started working together, showing each other their best moves. They mixed the flowing grace of the Blorbans with the colorful energy of the Zorgans, all with a touch of robot stiffness. Beeper joined in too, adding beeps and boops to the music. Sarah clapped along, amazed at how well everyone was getting along. After a while, the aliens had created something truly spectacular. It was a dance that looked like a rainbow come to life, with swooping jellyfish and color-changing octopuses, all moving with robot-like precision at times and flowing grace at others. When they finished, Sarah cheered louder than she ever had before. That was amazing, she shouted. I think it's clear who the winner is, all of you together. The aliens cheered too. The Zorgan leader turned to Sarah, its skin a happy pink color. Earth friend, you have brought peace through dance. This is best diplomatic meeting ever. The Blorban leader agreed. Yes, we thank you, Earth Ambassador. Now we must plan big space party together. As the aliens started excitedly planning their party, Sarah sat down, feeling tired but very happy. She looked at Beeper, who was still doing a little robot dance. Well, Beeper, she said, I think our mission was a success. Who would have thought that a little robot dance could bring galactic peace? Beeper's lights blinked cheerfully. Indeed, Ambassador Chen. It seems that sometimes the best diplomacy doesn't need words at all. Sarah nodded, watching the Zorgans and Blorbans practice their new dance together. She couldn't wait to tell everyone back on Earth about this. They might not believe that she had stopped a galactic rivalry with the robot dance, but it was all true. As she imagined teaching the new alien dance to people back home, Sarah realized something important. In the big, weird universe, maybe the best way to make friends wasn't with serious talks or complicated agreements. Maybe all you really needed was a willingness to look silly, to laugh at yourself, and to dance like nobody's watching, even if those watching are jellyfish aliens from across the galaxy.